While headlines screamed that Tesla's affordable Model 2 was dead, behind closed doors, engineers were quietly building a battery so advanced it could flip the entire electric vehicle game. Inside Tesla, the executives were genuinely alarmed when Elon Musk publicly denied the Model 2's cancellation, even though the project had already been shelved weeks before. But out of that chaos emerged the 4680 Gen 2 Cybercell, a battery with a 30% lighter shell and a 10% boost in energy density, threatening to end China's grip on battery tech. Some say Tesla didn't cancel the Model 2, they weaponized it. But before diving into Tesla's shocking deception, let's rewind to April 2024, when everything seemed to fall apart. When Tesla killed the Model 2, what if I told you that Tesla's biggest announcement wasn't what they revealed, but what they desperately tried to hide? Let's rewind to early April 2024. Everything looked calm on the surface. Sure, there were whispers of internal friction, supply chain strain, and China creeping in with ultra-cheap EVs. But the Model 2? That was supposed to be Tesla's golden ticket, the affordable, compact EV that would open the gates for millions more to finally go electric. It was a car people had been waiting years for, almost mythic at this point. Then came the Reuters bombshell. On April 5th, they dropped a headline that hit like a rogue lithium fire in a battery lab. Tesla was scrapping its long-promised $25,000 car. Supposedly, it was because the company had decided to go all in on robot axis instead. No more budget EVs, no more Model 2, just full autonomy or bust. And the market panicked. Investors didn't even wait to hear the full story. Tesla's stock price slipped by around 6% almost instantly. That may not sound like much, but for Tesla, that was billions of dollars of value evaporated before lunchtime. Retail traders were fuming, and EV Twitter was a total meltdown. But here's where things get strange. Within hours of that report, Elon Musk himself fired off a tweet denying it all. Internally, Musk's denial didn't land the way you might expect. According to a follow-up Reuters investigation published in June 2025, several top Tesla executives were shocked by his public dismissal of the report. They hadn't been briefed. Some reportedly believed Musk had just thrown the entire company's credibility under the Cybertruck. And honestly, if you were a Tesla executive sitting in those meetings and seeing the robotaxi pivot play out firsthand, would you have spoken up when Elon went public with a full denial? Or would you have stayed quiet and hoped the chaos passed? Let me know in the comments, because that kind of tension isn't just internal politics. That's a boardroom battle with billions on the line. So why double down so hard when the cancellation was already out there? Well, this is where things stop looking like a PR fumble and start smelling more like strategy. Some analysts are now calling it a deception campaign, but that might be too simplistic. Think of it more like a controlled burn that clears the forest before new tech takes root. By canceling the Model 2, Tesla took it off the pressure cooker. No more timeline expectations or production leaks, and most importantly, no more showing their hand to rivals in China who were already undercutting the market with cars nearly half the cost. Tesla wasn't backing down. They were buying time. What looked like a retreat was actually a stealth pivot. And it worked. The media focused on the drama. Shareholders vented and moved on. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, Tesla engineers were refining the very technology that would power the next version of the Model 2, not the car we expected, but a battery that would define it, a completely redesigned cell, the 4680 Gen 2, nicknamed the Cybercell. The model, the 2nd of May, died in public, but it was never buried. Instead, it was being rebuilt in secret, more efficient, more powerful, and designed for a global battery war that's only just heating up. And if this was all part of the plan, then what we just witnessed wasn't a miscommunication but misdirection. So, was the Model 2 actually cancelled? While the world was distracted by this corporate drama, Tesla's engineers were quietly perfecting something that would change everything. The 4680 Gen 2 Cybercell. Tesla's secret weapon. Meet the battery that Tesla claims doesn't exist, but is already powering every single Cybertruck rolling off the production line. Technically, it's a 4680 Gen 2 battery, but insiders and Tesla nerds have started calling it the Cybercell. And for good reason. The battery is not just a new battery, it's Tesla's ultimate cheat code in the electric vehicle race. And the wild part is that it was developed under everyone's noses during a time when people thought Tesla had stalled. So, what makes this battery such a big deal? Let's start with the shell. The Gen 2 Cybercell weighs just 4 to 9 grams, a 30% drop from the original Gen 1 70 grams. Less weight means more efficiency, quicker acceleration, better range, and less stress on the rest of the system. And the Cybercell delivers that without cutting durability. Now, let's talk energy. The Cybercell hits a whopping 272 watt-hours per kilogram, an 11.5% boost over the first-gen cells. And yeah, I know, 11% doesn't sound dramatic. But in battery science, that's like jumping 2 Olympic weight classes without losing speed or power. It's the kind of leap that doesn't just improve a car's performance. It redefines what a compact EV can do. So, how did they pull this off? Well, most batteries still rely on wet coating techniques, which are messy, slow, and require massive factory space. The dry electrode process Tesla is using for the Cybercell changes the game entirely. It skips the slurry, ditches the drying ovens, and speeds things up 5 to 6 times compared to traditional methods. That means more batteries, less time, and way lower costs. And speaking of cost, this is where Tesla might have cracked the final boss of the EV game. According to Tesla's own battery team, the Gen 2 Cybercell is now the cheapest battery to produce per kilowatt hour. It's cheaper than the original 2,170 cells used in the Model 3, cheaper than the prismatic LFP cells sourced from China, and even the leanest, meanest unit Tesla has ever built. Here's where the plot thickens. When Tesla canceled the Model 2 back in 2024, what they were really doing was taking the spotlight off this battery. While the media was chewing through Musk's tweet storms and arguing about robot axes, the Cybercell was already being installed in the pre-production units of the Cybertruck. And if that sounds like tinfoil hat speculation, you can literally see it in teardown footage from this year. The Cybertruck's pack has been confirmed to house 4,680 Gen 2 cells. This is not a prototype anymore. It's real, and it's already shipping. So why the secrecy? Well, because revealing the Cybercell too early would have tipped Tesla's hand in a massive battery tech arms race, especially against China, where CATL and BYD have been flooding the market with cheaper, smaller packs. But none of them come close to this balance of weight, energy, and cost. That's why Tesla's not just building a better battery, they are building the playbook for how next-generation battery manufacturing will actually work. No more scaling up by building more factories. With a dry electrode process, you scale sideways by making each line 5 times faster. That kind of gain doesn't just accelerate production, it breaks the rules of what's considered possible in the EV timeline. And it's not just about powering cars. The Gen 2 Cybercell opens the door for a future where Tesla's energy division, think Powerwalls, Megapacks, even off-grid homes, can get the same tech at a fraction of the previous cost. So, if you're watching this and wondering what the real Model 2 breakthrough is, it's not just some sleek hatchback with autopilot. It's this battery. It's this quiet little miracle sitting on the floor, rewriting how Tesla plays the game. This so-called cancel battery tech is about to trigger the biggest supply chain revolution the auto industry has ever seen. And it's not coming from Detroit or Tokyo, or even Berlin. It's coming straight out of Austin, wrapped in steel and humming underneath every Cybertruck on the road. Get ready, because the Cybercell was only the beginning. The independent strategy. What does it take to challenge a nation that controls over 80% of the world's battery supply chain? According to Tesla, it takes a refinery in Texas, a billionaire with a grudge, and a battery cell that changes everything. Now, let's be clear, this isn't just another factory story. What Tesla is building here is a geopolitical statement dressed up as a battery strategy. And it's working. The all-new 4680 Gen 2 battery we broke down earlier is almost completely independent of China. Yes, you heard that right. The country that built the global EV industry around cheap lithium, cobalt, and rare earth domination is suddenly out of the loop on Tesla's most important battery to date. And the centerpiece of this massive shift is a sleepy coastal city in Texas called Corpus Christi, where Tesla just activated what it calls the first large-scale lithium refinery in the United States. It is not a pilot project or a shared venture with China. It's a fully American-run facility built by Tesla. This isn't some token gesture to please regulators. Either, the numbers here are insane. This single refinery is expected to produce enough battery-grade lithium to power up to 50 gigawatt-hours worth of cells every year. In practical terms, That's enough to support around 1 million compact EVs annually, without touching a single Chinese supply chain. This is a total paradigm shift for an industry that has depended on Chinese lithium conversion for over a decade. While most automakers are still playing nice with Chinese mineral firms or praying that LFP battery shipments don't get caught up in tariffs, Tesla just cut itself free. And they didn't just build a plant, they built leverage. This isn't just about cost, either. It's about control. By refining lithium directly in Texas, Tesla eliminates the volatility of global shipping lanes, gets ahead of looming trade wars, and starts dictating terms on raw material access rather than begging for it. That's a strategic advantage, not just a supply fix. However, most legacy automakers are still deep in the China matrix. Whether it's Volkswagen, Ford, or even Toyota, they still source cathodes, anodes, or refined lithium from Chinese suppliers. Even their joint ventures abroad usually funnel back into Chinese chemical processing. But Tesla? They quietly decouple while the competition is still tangled in contracts and customs. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this even sustainable? Can Tesla scale this move globally, or is it just a flex? Well, that's exactly the point. It is a flex, but it's also the start of a manufacturing doctrine that's built to expand. Because once you control your own lithium and have your own battery cell architecture like the 4680 Cybercell, you've suddenly got options. You're not building at someone else's mercy, you're setting the pace. And the timing here couldn't be more on the nose. In the past 2 years, we've seen raw material costs spike, shipping rates explode, and governments scramble to reshuffle trade alliances. So for Tesla to come out and say, yeah, we're done relying on China for lithium, isn't just bold, it's a direct hit on the one thing the Chinese EV empire relies on most, global dependence. This isn't just about Texas and batteries. It's about redefining industrial independence at a time when nations are realizing just how fragile their tech ecosystems really are. If Tesla can pull this off, it will set a template not just for American EV manufacturing, but also for rebuilding an entire supply chain from the ground up. That's David slinging rock straight at Goliath's forehead. And we're watching it happen in real time. So, do you think Tesla's strategy to break free from China is realistic? Or is it all too ambitious? Now that Tesla has cut the cord on China, the big question becomes, can they scale this thing to match demand? The production powerhouse, from 0 to 100 million battery cells in record time. That's not just impressive. Tesla is rewriting the rulebook on what's possible in EV manufacturing. This is a part where the skeptics usually start running out of things to say. Because look, it's one thing to design a revolutionary battery. It's another thing entirely to build it at scale, without delays, excuses, and without having to call Beijing for help. And somehow, in the middle of post-pandemic bottlenecks, supply chain chaos, and global inflation, Tesla has quietly crossed one of its boldest milestones yet, 100,004,680 cells officially produced. Now, if that number sounds like pure PR to you, let me put it in perspective. That's one cell for every single person living in Vietnam. Oh! To put it another way, if each 4680 battery were a can of soda, you could stack them from Texas to the moon and still have enough left to power your next road trip to Mars. And where is this happening? Deep in the heart of Giga, Texas, a place that's quickly becoming not just Tesla's new home, but its industrial launchpad. The current daily production rate is 126,050 cells per day. Let that roll around your head for a second. That means that every single minute, Tesla produces around 88 cells, faster than any other production house out there. But here's where it starts getting a little wild. That current output is just a taste of what's coming. The planned annual capacity for these 4,680 cells is a staggering 100 gigawatt hours. To put that into something more real-world, that's enough battery supply to power roughly 1.3 million EVs each year. And these aren't hypothetical numbers stuck in slide decks. Tesla is hitting these goals while still expanding infrastructure. Most legacy automakers take years to get a single battery line to volume production, and Tesla has managed to jump from prototype to high-volume output in less time than it takes some companies to finish designing their battery casings. While others are busy outsourcing to Asian suppliers or dealing with offshore permits, Tesla has been tweaking robots, running trial lines, and quietly amassing output under the radar. Of course, it's not all roses and sunshine. This scale didn't come easily. Tesla faced early setbacks in line efficiency, thermal control issues, and tabless electrode manufacturing delays. But instead of backing off, they went full tunnel vision on innovation. And the result has now passed one of the biggest psychological barriers in battery manufacturing, proving they can not only design for performance but deliver at a mass scale. And yeah, don't think this is where it stops. Elon has already teased expanded capacity coming not just to Texas but also to Nevada and possibly even India or Canada. The point is, Giga Texas might be the model, but it's not the limit. It's the prototype of a replication engine that's about to go global. Now imagine this, 100 million cells powering the next generation of Teslas, starting with the Model 2. All were built on American soil, using mostly American resources, assembled inside a facility that didn't exist just a few years ago. If you were wondering how Tesla plans to undercut prices and still dominate, well, this is how you make it happen. It's a number that sounds made up until you see it printed on a blueprint, stamped on a pallet, and loaded into a Tesla frame in real time. So, what do you think Tesla's next milestone will be? Will they double that figure, or leap into new chemistries altogether? Whether it's stealth launches, platform pivots, or full-on industrial warfare, the next wave of EV dominance is already underway. And you're going to want to see what's coming. The ripple effects. When one company achieves supply chain independence and cost leadership simultaneously, every other automaker faces an existential crisis. While most manufacturers are still navigating complex, China-dependent supply chains, Tesla is quietly pulling off what can only be described as a great uncoupling. By pioneering its own dry electrode battery process and locking in materials sourcing that doesn't run through Beijing, Tesla isn't just dodging tariffs and geopolitical messes. It's rewriting the rules of competition. And that ripple effect is already hitting the shorelines of legacy carmakers hard. Companies like General Motors, Ford, and even Toyota now face the brutal reality that their reliance on Chinese cathode suppliers could become a ticking time bomb. Meanwhile, Tesla is positioned to set prices from a place of power, not pressure. Imagine trying to compete with a company that doesn't just make the most efficient battery but also controls the whole recipe, from mining to manufacturing. Tesla's dry electrode process could become the golden goose, especially if it proves to be as scalable and cost-cutting as early data suggests. Smaller automakers might have no choice but to license it just to stay afloat. That wouldn't just shift tech adoption, it would shift who controls the flow of electric vehicle innovation. Imagine what happens to EV pricing. If Tesla slashes battery costs enough to make a fully electric, long-range car profitable at under $25,000, mass adoption could spike across markets, even in developing countries. This isn't just about cars, it's about who owns the future of transportation. And the investors? They are already reacting. Tesla's market confidence is up. Analysts are calling this a battery arms race. Everyone else is being forced to rethink not just production plans, but entire business models. Which automaker do you think will be the next to achieve battery independence? Or will they all end up licensing Tesla's tech to survive? Tesla didn't just pull off a stealth pivot. It set off a seismic shift, leaving an industry suddenly out of breath, trying to keep up. Whether the Model 2 returns or not, the revolution has already begun. Tesla didn't just build a better battery here. They built a blueprint for industry domination. The question isn't whether the Model 2 will return. The question is, can anyone stop Tesla now? What do you think?